Thank you for the opportunity for me to be able to share this wisdom. Friends, I will continue with what we started, the journey for wellness and longevity. I will now share my screen. So just the usual disclaimer, presentation is not intended to provide medical advice. It is for information purposes. I'm not from the medical field, but my research is based on the work of scientists and medical professionals. And my presentation is based on my experience and in no way implies that this is a universal cure, as I recognize that each individual is unique. I'm going to start off with a poll question. So please, join in. It is good to make it as engaging and as possible. So the first question is, according to current scientific research, how many years of extra life, would you have if you did or did not do the following things? If you didn't smoke, if you don't drink, if you eat the right things, if you eat less, if you get good sleep, if you don't stress out, and if you exercise. So is it 5 years? Is it 10 years? Is it 15 years? Or is it 20 years? Just a few small changes that we need to make in our lives, and it adds many, many years to our life, healthy years to our life. Thirty more seconds. So I will now end the poll and share the results. So 9% said 5 years, 36% said 10 years, 18% said 15 years, and 36% said 20 years. The correct answer, according to scientific research, is just by making these small changes, we add 15 years, 15 healthy years to our life. Thank you. So we looked at the first two pillars last week. One is fasting is the best medicine, Langhanam Param Aushadam. And the second one we looked at is eat to beat disease. Today, we start off with something which everyone here in this group does very regularly and probably understands it very well, which is meditation, the longevity pill. In order to understand the benefits of meditation, we probably need to look at what stress is and what stress does to our bodies. So I'm going to put up another poll question. On a scale of 1 to 4, how stressed are you generally? 1 being very low and 4 being quite high. Twenty more seconds. Thank you. I will now share the results. So 8% feel very low levels of stress, which is excellent. 69% feel some levels of stress, which is also still very good. A few of us feel quite high levels of stress. 15% said 3 and 8% said 4. So, meditation is something which really helps us be stressed. So let's start to understand stress. Epigenetics tell us that the composition of the blood is actually what controls our genetic activity. Last week we learned that genes are responsible for only 20% of what happens in our life. 80% it is epigenetics, which means our lifestyle, the environment, the air we breathe in, the food that we eat, that actually tells us that it is that lifestyle controls the composition of the blood, and that controls our genetic activity. So blood controls energy because that's where all the nutrients and resources are. And the blood is more or less concentrated in our viscera, the organs that actually help us grow, repair, and maintain itself. What does fear do? Fear generates stress. What happens physiologically when we experience fear in our mind? We start to get mobilized to forget our body in order to respond to that fear. The mobilization is related to the adrenal system, the fight or flight system built into our body. The brain releases stress hormones such as cortisol, as well as agents that affect the immune system such as histamine. In short, it redirects the flow of energy in our body. So what happens when the stress hormones go into the blood? They actually cause the blood vessels in the gut to shut down. Why? Because we don't need to use the energy to grow and maintain the body when we are being chased by that tiger. When the blood vessels in the gut squeeze shut, the blood is now forced into the arms and legs, which are necessary for the fight or flight response. You shut down any mechanism that is not necessary in the fight or flight response. You also shut down the immune system. The immune system protects us from threats within. Not only do we redirect the flow of the blood away from the viscera, which is maintaining our body, we also inhibit the immune system, which is protecting the interior of our body from various viruses and bacteria. What now? Assuming a tiger is chasing us, if it's just a run away from the tiger, 10 minutes, you escape the tiger, then the system can return to the normal state. But what happens in chronic fear? Chronically, we are shutting down the maintenance of the body, which opens us up to infections and inflammations and all other problems. We also shut down the immune system, which is protecting us from those infections. The worst part is, in today's world, stress is not just 10 minutes. It is 24/7, 365 days. What is the consequence of a long duration of living in fear? The body starts to become sick and starts to fall apart. Now it turns out that stress is responsible for up to 90% of all disease. We were thinking genes were causing diseases. No, it is the consequence of stress and the chemical consequence of shutting down growth, shutting down the immune system, which opens up the body for failure. Disease is the result of chronic fear. I'm going to ask another poll question. How does stress affect you? Do you become sleepless? Do you become irritable? Do you become angry? Or do your relationships suffer? If you would please join in the poll question. Twenty more seconds. I will end the poll now. So some of us experience sleeplessness, some of us, 36%, we become irritable. Quite a lot of us actually become a little angry. And for some of us, even our relationships suffer. So how do people in the blue zones manage stress? We learned last week that blue zones are the zones where we have the highest concentration of centenarians all over the world. Yeah. So people in blue zones suffer the same stress that we do. However, they have daily rituals that will reduce stress and reverse the inflammation associated with stress. In Okinawa, they go on daily walks with friends. In Nicoya, they take a break in the afternoon to socialize with friends. Seventh-day Adventists in Loma Linda pray. Icarians frequently take naps. Sardinians partake in a happy hour. So the next poll question is, how do you deal with your stress? Do you listen to music? Do you meditate? Do you eat comfort food? Or do you go for a walk? Ten more seconds. Thank you. So, 15% say we listen to music. That does help us calm down. 46%, which is really very good, we meditate to reduce our stress. 31% say we eat comfort food, and that is just a natural human tendency. When we get stressed, we either like to have our chocolates or crisps, or we start eating some comfort food. And 8% say go for a walk. Going for a walk also helps in reducing our stress. So meditation is actually a longevity pill, and I will come to that after a few slides. It actually helps lengthen our life, and lengthen not only just life, it also lengthens the healthy span. But meditation is a simple, fast way to reduce stress. Meditation provides a lot of benefits for the mind, the body, and the spirit. Meditation has two vital benefits. It prevents stress from getting inside our system, and it also releases the stress which has been accumulated within. And these two occur at the same time, and the person will feel happy and refreshed. I don't really need to go through understanding meditation, but I will go through because a very educated, well-learned audience is here. So meditation has been practiced for thousands of years. Meditation originally was meant to help deepen the understanding of the sacred and mystical forces of life. These days, meditation is commonly used for relaxation and stress reduction. Meditation is considered a type of mind-body complementary medicine. Meditation can produce a deep state of relaxation and a tranquil mind. During meditation, you focus your attention and eliminate the stream of jumbled thoughts that may be crowding your mind and causing stress. Meditation can give you a sense of calm, peace, and balance that can benefit both your emotional well-being and your overall health. These benefits do not end when your meditation session ends. Meditation can help carry you more calmly throughout your day. So what are the benefits of meditation? I'm just going to go through a very few benefits. So within 7 weeks, cancer patients decreased their degree of depression, anxiety, anger, confusion, and chest and stomach symptoms by 50%. Within 10 weeks, 2/3 of chronic pain patients had a 30% reduction in pain, and half had more than a 50% reduction. Within 10 weeks of meditation, chronic pain patients had less pain, less mood disturbances, used less pain medication, and could be more active. These benefits were present even a year later. 3 years after just an 8-week meditation instruction, patients with anxiety and panic disorders still showed a benefit. Now let us look at the brain default mode network. So functional MRI studies of the brain show that when someone is daydreaming or just not doing anything, our brains show consistent activity in certain regions. These areas together are called the default mode network. It involves part of the brain responsible for thinking about yourself and rumination, areas which are correlated with some mental illnesses such as depression and anxiety. One of the interesting brain areas making up the DMN is the amygdala, the region of the brain largely responsible for the fight or flight response, and is seen to be more active when people are stressed. DMN is a ruminative network. It directs our awareness to the past and future, while largely ignoring the present can be used responsibly for planning and organizing. We must be wary of the negative aspects of it. So the other network is the task positive network. TPN is active during attention demanding tasks. TPN can be said to be responsible for present moment awareness, being in the here and now. It is the action network. When TPN is activated and we are in the present, there is no rumination, there is no worry, there is no past, there is no future, because DMN is inactivated. Only one system can be active at any one time. By activating the TPN, we deactivate the DMN. We activate TPN in meditation. Experienced meditators have been found to have smaller amygdalas. And so this change in structure of the brain means that they are able to react differently to the stresses and strains of everyday life. Now we come to a very important part, meditation and longevity. Backed by 117,000 peer-reviewed scientific studies, meditation has been shown to boost GSH, and GSH is the mother of all antioxidants. A 2017 study of 96 meditators over 12 weeks found that meditation had significantly reduced the rate of cellular aging in an apparently healthy population. According to the researchers, the meditators' sirtuin-1 levels, these are the longevity genes which we talked about last week, they were boosted by a massive 52%. A 2011 study by doctors at the University of California, after a 3-month meditation retreat, found that meditators cranked up about 40% more telomerase units per 10,000 cells versus the control group. Telomerase helps in keeping our telomeres long. The length of the telomere is an indication of longevity. Now we go on to what all of us are meditating for, and that is spirituality. Meditation starts by being separate from the mind, by being a witness. That is the only way of separating yourself from anything. If you are looking at the light, naturally one thing is certain: you are not the light. You are the one who is looking at it. If you are watching the flowers, one thing is certain: you are not the flower, you are the watcher. Watching or witnessing is the key of meditation. Watch your mind. Don't do anything. No repetition of mantra, no repetition of the name of God. Just watch whatever the mind is doing. Don't disturb it, don't prevent it, don't repress it, don't do anything on your part. Just be a watcher. Just be a witness. And the miracle of watching, the miracle of being a witness is meditation. As you watch, slowly the mind becomes empty of thoughts. You are not falling asleep. You are actually becoming more alert, more aware. As the mind becomes completely empty, your whole energy becomes a flame of awakening. The flame is the result of meditation. So you can say meditation is another name of watching, witnessing, observing, without any judgment, without any evaluation. Just by watching, you immediately get out of your mind. Just a few points to ponder from the meditation pillar. How you think can affect how you feel, and how you feel can affect your thinking. Stress is responsible for up to 90% of all diseases. Experienced meditators have been found to have smaller amygdalas. Meditators produced 40% more telomerase. Meditators' sirtuin-1 levels were boosted by a massive 52%. So friends, that was the third pillar, meditation, the longevity pill. Now we look at the fourth pillar, which is sleep, the silent healer. We go to a poll question. How many hours of sleep do you have every day at night? Is it 5, 6, 7, or 8? Ten more seconds. Thank you. I will end the poll now and share the results. So we've got 7% who sleep 5 hours, 27% who sleep 6 hours, 53% who sleep 7 hours, and 13% who sleep 8 hours. Now, as far as modern science is concerned, they generally say 7 to 8 hours sleep is what is required. However, having said that, seasoned meditators require much less sleep. So now we will go on to the only way to understand the importance of sleep is we understand what happens when we are sleep deprived. the first thing that happens when we are sleep deprived is we age much faster. So a couple of scientists took some mice and disturbed their sleep for 2 weeks. Only 2 weeks, they made them sleep deprived. Within 2 weeks, the mice, all of them had diabetes. Similar experiment was done with humans. 2 weeks, they reduced their sleep to just 4 hours every day for 2 weeks. And all the people who were in that study became pre-diabetic. That is how quickly we age. So it says the level of testosterone is 10 years more senior in people who are sleep deprived. The second thing that happens when we are sleep deprived is it blocks our brain's capacity for new learning. Significant 40% deficit in the brain in the ability to make new memories. When we are sleep deprived, cognitive decline starts. It contributes to memory decline and in aging and in Alzheimer's disease. We become hyperactive and irrational when we are deprived. There are significant links with conditions such as depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, and tragically, suicide as well. And the fifth thing is it shortens our telomere length. Sleep has the biggest influence on the shortening of your telomeres. And there is an increase in heart attacks. And this is a global experiment, 1.6 billion people across 70 countries twice a year. And this is what it's called the daylight savings time. So in March, every year, there is an increase in 24% in heart attacks just by this single daylight savings clock change. There is a 70% drop in natural killer cell activity when we are still sleep deprived. This is the percentage reduction in immune cell activity that you suffer after just one night's reduction in sleep to 4 hours. And WHO has said that it is probably carcinogen. They classified any form of nighttime shift work as a probable carcinogen. When we are sleep deprived, cancer may grow more quickly and aggressively. There is an up to 200% increase in the speed and the size of that cancerous growth. And this experiment was done on mice. And it also erodes our DNA genetic code. Genes related to the promotion of tumors, chronic inflammation, and stress get upregulated when we are sleep deprived. The next poll question is, how do you feel when you haven't had a good night's sleep? Do you feel tired? You can't concentrate? Do you feel stressed, or do you feel irritative? Ten more seconds. Thank you. I will end the poll now. Share the results. So 50% say we feel tired because we just can't focus and we haven't, and the other 50% say can't concentrate. So these are some of the symptoms which all of us experience when we haven't had a good night's sleep. So what does Brittany Howard say? She says, sleep is the best way to restore your health. Never skip on sleep. It's crazy important. Now we slowly go through the 4 stages of sleep. And this is the standard 90-minute cycle of human sleep. So sleep is divided into two main types. One is the non-rapid eye movement, or non-REM for short. And the other, we have the rapid eye movement, REM. It turns out that non-REM and REM will play out in a battle for brain domination throughout the night. And the cerebral war is going on to be won and lost every 90 minutes. Then it's going to be replayed every 90 minutes. What this produces is a standard cycling architecture of human sleep, which is a standard 90-minute cycle. But what's different, however, is the ratio of the non-REM to the REM within those 90 minutes cycles. These change as we move across the night, such as in the first half of the night. The majority of those 90-minute cycles are comprised of lots of deep non-REM sleep, particularly stages 3 and 4 of non-REM sleep. As we push to the second half of the night, the seesaw balance activity shifts over, and instead, most of those 90-minute cycles are comprised a lot more of rapid eye movement. We have more dreams, etc. So in stage 1 of this 90-minute cycle, we have very light sleep, muscles begin to relax, and this stage 1 lasts only for a few minutes. Stage 2, the breathing pattern and heart rate slows down. Body temperature decreases slightly. The brain produces sleep spindles, and this lasts for about 25 minutes. Stage 3 is the deepest sleep state. The delta brain waves are present. Tissue repair, growth, and cell regeneration takes place. The immune system strengthens. And stage 4 is where the primary dreaming stage, eye movements become rapid, breathing and heart rate increases, the limb muscles temporarily are sort of paralyzed, and brain activity is markedly increased. Now, in order to get good sleep, we need to think about sleep hygiene. And sleep hygiene consists of, first of all, getting more sunlight during the day. I know in UK, sometimes we don't have that much sunlight, but the sleep scientists say, even if there isn't much sunlight, we should go out. Secondly, they say, get up when the sun rises. Then they say, have a caffeine curfew in the afternoon after 2 p.m., 3 p.m. or so that it doesn't affect our sleep at night. The fourth suggestion they make is, don't eat and drink before bedtime. Then they say, go to bed at the right time every day. And then have a sleep sanctuary. Don't use the bedroom for work and other activities. Then they tell us, calm your inner chatter. So especially for the UK group, you guys all meditate from 9 o'clock, so that will help in calming the inner chatter. The fourth thing is to keep the temperature a little low in the room. That will help with sleep. And then says, make it as the room as dark as possible. We go to the next poll question on sleep, which is, do you feel that making some changes to your sleep hygiene will improve your sleep? Ten more seconds. So thank you, everyone. I will end the poll now, and I will publish the results. So, well, 92% say yes, making some changes will help. 8% say no. And, obviously not all of these things will resolve all the sleeping issues. And therefore, if medical advice is required, then one should get medical advice, because sleep is super, super important. So we close the sleep session by sleeping on these gems. Sleep is not an optional lifestyle luxury. Sleep is a non-negotiable biological necessity. It is a life support system. It is Mother Nature's best effort yet at contra death. We now move on to the fifth pillar of wellness and longevity. The fifth pillar is breath, your superpower. So the first poll question is, on an average, how many breaths do we take every day? $5,000, $10,000, $25,000, or $35,000? Ten more seconds. I will end the poll now and share the results. So 14% said we take 10,000 breaths, 43% said 25,000 breaths, and a further 43% said 35,000 breaths. The correct answer is we take about 25,000 breaths every day. So breathing is the first thing that we do when we are born and the last thing that we do before we die. Yet most of us pay little attention to it throughout our lives. I would love everybody here simply to stop your breath for the next few seconds. Don't take a big gulp in, just exhale what you've got and hold it. Ready? Keep going. How do you feel? Do you think you could have done it for much longer? The truth is, if we had to hold our breath for 2 to 3 minutes, most of us unfortunately would die. On an average, the human body can go without food for about 3 weeks, without water for 3 days, without air, not even for 3 minutes. What is surprising is that we go to try and improve our health, as most of us are doing, perpetually on some level. We typically go first to the thing that we can go the longest without, and that is food. So it is important to focus on breath. And what does Andrew Weil, an MD, say? Improper breathing is a common cause of ill health. If I had to limit my advice on healthier living to just one tip, it would be simply to learn how to breathe correctly. There is no single, more powerful, or more simple daily practice to further your health and well-being than breath work. By changing the way you breathe, you can change how your mind is processing thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Researchers who have studied breathing for 50 years say how we breathe absolutely affects us. It even affects the density of our bones. It affects us to the atomic, subatomic level. We inhale 30 pounds of air every single day. If you think that the air and how we inhale and exhale doesn't affect us, you are wrong. It affects us much more than food. You can eat all the right foods, you can exercise as much as you want, but if you're not breathing correctly, you're never going to be healthy. We need to take control of this unconscious ability to breathe, to harness all of the power within that to do some incredible things. The first step about breathing is to be conscious of it. and to understand that this isn't something that you should be just running in the background, but something that we can and need to take control of. Today, we are going to look at two very simple breathing habits which are transformative. I'm not going to ask anyone to spare half an hour every day to completely change their lifestyle. We're going to look at adopting healthy breathing habits no matter what you are doing. First healthy breathing habit that we are going to look at is how important it is to breathe through your nose. So what are the benefits of nasal breathing? 1, temperature control. 2, it filters the air that we breathe. 3, it humidifies the air. 4, it has got, we can smell. The sense of smell is in the nose, not in the mouth. And the 5th most important thing is we take in 20% more oxygen. The nose is for breathing, the mouth is for eating. Breathing affects your respiratory, cardiovascular, neurological, gastrointestinal, muscular, and psychic systems, and also has a general effect on sleep, memory, ability to concentrate, and your energy levels. Now, we're going to do a poll question. What I would like everyone to do is put your right hand on your chest and left hand on your belly and just breathe normally. If your right hand rises more, then you are a chest breather. If your left hand rises more, then you are an abdomen or a belly breather. So if you would kindly try it, and then if you can participate in the poll. Ten more seconds. I will end the poll now and share the results. So 50% of us are chest breathers and 50% of us are belly breathers. So I will now continue and we will go over the benefits of belly breathing. So the first benefit is it detoxifies and releases toxins. The second benefit is it reduces stress and anxiety. The third benefit is it relieves pain. The fourth benefit is it actually massages our internal organs. Fifth benefit is it strengthens our immune system. It also improves our nervous system. It strengthens our lungs. It makes our heart stronger. It reduces inflammation. And it also stimulates the lymphatic system. So there is a quote, a very important quote. It is biologically impossible to have an anxiety or panic attack when you are breathing fully, deeply, slowly. You just can't do it. Now, what I would like everyone to do is breathe normally. And when I say start, count the number of breaths that you take in 1 minute. And then I will actually tell you when to stop. So please start now. Okay, you may stop counting. So the poll question is, how many breaths do you normally take in a minute? Ten more seconds. I will end the poll now and share the results. So 11% take about 6 to 9 breaths per minute. 42% take about 10 to 12 breaths per minute. 26% take about 13 to 15 breaths per minute, and a further 21% take more than 16 breaths per minute. The significance of this is when I show you the next slide. So pranayam, what does that mean? Pran means life force. Literally, it is in the air that we breathe. It is all around us. Ayam means extension or expansion. So literally, pranayam means longevity through breathing. Now we look at breaths per minute and longevity. We compare the various mammals, how many breaths they take per minute and their lifespan. So the mouse breathes 130 times per minute, yet it lives for only 3 years. A dog breathes for about 30 times a minute and it lives for 15 years. A chimpanzee breathes 14 times per minute and it lives for 40 years. A horse normally breathes 12 times a minute and it lives for 50 years. A human on an average breathes about 9 times a minute, and the average lifespan currently is about 77 years. The whale breathes for only 6 times a minute and it lives for 100 years. So friends, the important thing is we need to take control of our breathing. A deep, full inhale and a slow, long exhale. This is the key to longevity. So some breathtaking points. The breath is always with us. It is the most effective calming tool and it's free. Dan Brule says the secret of life is right under your nose. Breathe and let go and remind yourself that this very moment is the only one you know you have for sure. No matter what we eat, how much we exercise, how resilient our genes are, how skinny or young or wise we are, none of it will matter unless we are breathing correctly. The nose is for breathing, the mouth is for eating. A deep, full inhale, a slow, long exhale. This is the key to longevity. Thank you, everyone. We've covered 3 more pillars today: meditation, sleep, and breath. So if anybody would like to share any of their experiences regarding these 3 pillars, please feel free to unmute yourself and also turn on your video if you so wish. Yes, Dinesh.
Two questions that come to my mind.
Yes.
Your comments on, am I audible,
Yes.
Master?
Yes, you are. Yes.
Your comments on what is coming out as a fad now is keto diet.
Yes.
And Second question is, when I meditate, I am unable to detach the thoughts coming in and passing by. They continue to come, maybe transient, sometimes for longer duration, and go away. How do I handle this?
So, do you want me to talk about the keto diet first?
Whichever.
Yeah, okay.
As
Keto diet. Yeah, so keto diet is something which obviously it's a recent thing. We had the Atkins diet, which was just eating fat. So keto diet is something sort of similar, sort of less carbs and more fat. However, I don't believe that there is scientific evidence that it actually reverses and cures diseases like heart disease. I do understand that there is evidence that it does, reverse type 2 diabetes. So, in my humble opinion, I think we need to have a balanced diet. I look at the longest lived people in the world, and the longest lived people in the world, we don't need any more scientific experiments to understand what they eat. I mean, they are centenarians into 90s and hundreds. They have very good health, and 95% of their diet is a plant-based diet, and 80 to 85% of the diet is carbohydrates. They don't take any refined carbs. They don't eat anything that comes from a wrapper. So my suggestion or my personal experience is it is a plant-based diet. We need to throw out all the junk, processed foods that we are eating. The second question is about meditation. Yes, so it is a practice. It will take some time, but we need to. Well, so one of the things which is possible, well, the Anapanasati meditation is where we focus our mind on breathing, the breath coming in and the breath going out. Once we start doing this slowly, it takes time, we start detaching ourselves from the mind and the thoughts. So this is one way of doing it. The second way is where we go into the Upanishadic period, where there were, the education that was given is you are that Brahman, Tattvam Asi, that which permeates the whole universe, that in because of which the sun shines, because of which the moon shines, because of which the universe exists, that which is everywhere, that is you, Tattvam Asi. So one of the other methods would be believing yourself to be that Brahman rather than the physical body. So when thoughts come in, you separate yourself from the thought by this thought that your true identity is that consciousness, that universal consciousness. And slowly over time, we can separate ourselves. And it is only through regular practice that this happens over time. Unfortunately, it's not a pill that we can take and we can separate ourselves from the thoughts.
quite agree. Thank you. Great
Thank
learning.
you. Does anyone else have any comments or anything to share?
Morning, sir.
Morning,
I
morning.
I just did the breathing exercise which you asked to do, like for 1 minute, and I
Yes.
have counted my breaths. It's like more than 25 for a minute.
Okay.
I just want to know, is it a good thing, or
So,
do I need to do
so,
any
so okay.
measures?
No, thank you, thank you. So what it shows is that you're breathing very shallow. So what that means is there isn't enough time for the oxygen to pass through to the blood, the carbon
Mm-hmm.
dioxide to be released. So all we
Okay.
need to do is slowly practice taking in, when you breathe in, take a deep and full breath. So the abdominal muscles should sort of expand. This part should expand, and then you slowly breathe out. If possible, if you do a count, start off with counting up to 5, breathe in, and
Okay.
7, 8, or 10 breathing out. Make that slower. So currently this breathing pattern, what it does is it is actually continuously keeping your sympathetic nervous system active, which may,
Okay.
I may be wrong, but which may actually be meaning that you're quite stressed all the time. You
Yeah,
start breathing
exactly.
deeply. Yeah, so when you start breathing deeply and fully, and when you exhale slowly, your parasympathetic nervous system gets activated and stress goes out of the system. Your blood pressure comes down, your mind becomes clear, and there's more oxygen in the body, and you relax. So the way you can introduce this in your daily life is there are a lot of activities where we do not necessarily need to use our minds all the time, like when we are cooking, when we are cutting vegetables, or when we are going out for a walk. So at that time, start focusing on your breath and breathe deeply and fully, and exhale long and slow. By doing this regularly over, just pick out the activities that it's easy to do. For example, watching television in the evening. When you're watching television, we are not really doing anything, so we can
Yeah,
focus on our breath. So changing this breath pattern will definitely will give you dividends. Your health will improve, and your meditation will improve as well, because it's all related. It's all
yeah.
linked.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dinesh ji, for another invaluable pearls of wisdom shared this week. Thank you so much. And yeah, I've just taken handover from Ravi. So yeah, no, I think we are looking forward to the remaining pillars as well next week. So we will have the immense pleasure of having you again, sir. But
Yeah,
meanwhile, if there are...
we'll be able to finish the the last remaining three pillars next week.
No problem, sir. If we don't, we can extend it by one more week. That'll be our pleasure.
That's right.
Thank you, friends. Any more questions or anything else you would like to share with Dinesh, sir?
Hi, Dinesh, sir. This is
Hi.
Kamal here.
Hi, Kamal.
In terms of quality of sleep,
Yes.
let's say if an average, if I'm sleeping at 7 hours,
It
in
is
that,
good.
if I look at the deep sleep, it shows around 40 minutes to 1 hour.
Yes.
Is it something a normal person, the quality of what is an amount of deep
So
sleep a person will have?
should have a few hours, a couple of hours of very deep sleep. And one of the original our Ayurvedic stuff is where you massage the soles of the feet at night with oil, just for 3 to 5 minutes on each sole, and it will relax you completely, and you will have a much deeper sleep. So it's just small techniques like so that two things which I generally use. One is massaging padabhyang, so massaging the soles of the feet with oil, and I do it only for 3 minutes on each sole, and it takes the stress out of the whole day. It just takes it out. And the second thing that one can do is keep our feet in some warm water. So just for about 20 minutes, it helps not only de-stress the body, the muscles. You will end up having really, really very good sleep. So
Yeah,
these are
thank
a
you,
couple
Dinesh.
of tips which you could, which one could do.
Yeah, any oil is fine, or just
Sorry.
is it oil wise? What kind of oil that?
Oh, I have been using extra virgin olive oil, or you can use coconut oil. Coconut oil or extra virgin olive oil are better, because whatever we apply on our skin actually gets absorbed. So therefore, it is good to not to use any vegetable oil, because vegetable oils are really, really very bad for the body.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for advice.
Thank you.
Okay, friends. Anybody else would like to share or ask any questions? Lots of messages on the chat as well, sir, for a wonderful session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
sure, sir. So if not, we'll catch up again next Sunday at the same time then, for listening to Dinesh ji again for the remaining pillars. Thank you all. And thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And see you again next Sunday. Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.